Me and him did like one PMC together and one scav, and then I had to go into work for an hour.
Yeah, we had a bit of success, but Tarkov is Tarkov. Hard game to win in. Easy to make rubles in, hard to win in.
Just, keep an eye out on things. People are going to be in the comments being like, what's wrong with multiple life insurance policies? I don't understand. My wife says they're brilliant. And I mean, it's probably it's good to have money. Especially if you like Swordriddle. We actually have a sponsor on another channel that I do, which is all about life insurance and why it's a good thing. They don't ever say about multiple policies. The only time I've heard about multiple policies is like in crime. Someone's getting killed. Meanwhile, she had to keep up the facade of a happy, healthy marriage, a fake double life that her partner thought was reality. After about 6 months of fake marital bliss, the deadly gold digger and her murder coach started Phase 3, the assassination itself. Engelman had his accomplice, Robert Handy, the Q to his bonds, procure the rifle on the black market, meaning it couldn't be traced back to him. Also, dude, you're making another classic criminal mistake. You're involving other people in your crimes. Like, we've talked about this. There's already 2 people involved in your crimes, which is just risky. It's risky business, because they can turn on you. If you're going to do crimes, do the crimes solo. Then he and Carmen scouted out several locations around Missouri where Engelman could take the shot and make a quick getaway. On 2 separate occasions, he even had the target in his sights, but had to keep his finger off the trigger when the arrival of potential witnesses ruined the opportunities. 3rd time's a charm, though. After settling on the park for this try, Glennon and Carmen went there for a dry run a few days before the planned date. He gave explicit instructions on where and how they should stand so he could pull off the kill with minimal risk. You've already seen what came next. Engelman lay in the bushes and blasted a hole right through the innocent man's chest. Theory is one thing, but practice is entirely another. Perhaps the reality of actually seeing her husband shot dead was too much for Carmen. As she ran off, Engelman thought she might be coming down with a bad case of buyer's remorse. A bit late, Carmers. He showed himself for just a second to make sure that she didn't blow the whole thing. After that, Carmen managed to play the role of damsel in distress to a T. While Engelman made his escape, she went to flag down help from a passing car and brought the paramedics to the scene. Then, after it was over, she waited long enough to avoid suspicion and collected $75,000 from her late husband's insurance policies, about $350,000 in today's money, which is a lot of money, but it's not millions of dollars. And you gave up, like, was it years of your life to do this crazy thing and then risk going to prison for murder? What is up with you? Around 6 months after the killing, the triggerman got his cut of modest $10,000 for his troubles, delivered by Carmen's brother, who was in on the plan. Okay, so now there's 4 people involved in this. Carmen's
fucking
brother,
did hear
what are you
someone.
doing? You're just a delivery man for crime money? Why on earth would you get involved? How much are you getting paid? Also, if I was that dentist, I'd be like, yo, I want half that money. I pulled the trigger. What are you talking about? Also, I'm in charge. I feel like the dentist guy was in charge. It was his idea. Why is he only getting $50,000? He killed someone. Crazy? She received all the widow, and he returned to his dental practice, satisfied with another job well done. Any question marks left hanging over the death of Peter Harm in the minds of the investigators would remain unanswered for now. In this one, because there's a very detailed explanation of the crime that sounds like we have it because it was solved. Just wild ass guess there. Now, before we continue with today's episode, I'll tell you a bit about today's fantastic sponsor who make this possible. That would be Curiosity Stream. Thank you so much. Curiosity Stream are a subscription streaming service that offers thousands of documentaries and non-fiction titles from some of the world's best filmmakers, including exclusive originals. It's extremely affordable. You can get 25% off, which makes it $18.99 a year, which is outrageous. And if you're thinking, documentary, Simon, I'm listening to a true crime show, or watching a true crime show, do they have true crime? Oh boy, do they? Curiosity Stream, they're like, Simon, recommend this one. It's amazing. Okay, thanks for making my life incredibly easy. Crime Scene Solvers, Who Took Johnny, and there's a second one they recommend, Who Killed Trudy Adams. Look, guys. If you're watching this true crime show, this is going to be right up your street because, well, it's documentaries about true crime. And honestly, why would you love it? They've even got a short description. I'm not going to read that whole thing, guys, because it's super long. But look, I see in there cold case, disappearance, remains a mystery, cool surf culture, gleaming new suburbs, 1978. All of this sounds like exactly the makeup of a Casual Criminalist episode, except we've not covered either of those things. So why not, after you finish this show, go grab some Curiosity Stream, check out their true crime stuff. They've also got a ton of other stuff. So if you've got other interests outside of true crime, which let me just assume that you have, they've got loads of other documentaries there as well. It's available on loads of platforms. There's a huge list of them here, which I'm not going to read. But basically, if you've got a device with a screen, it seems as if you're going to be able to get it. It's available worldwide. Oh yeah, science, nature, history, technology, society, lifestyle. It's all there. Look, Curiosity Stream, it's like Netflix for big brains. CuriosityStream.com/criminalist. Unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and non-fiction series. And for you guys, just use the promo code CRIMINALIST and you'll save 25% off, which comes out at only $14.99 a year. And at first I was like, it's like per month, right? Nope, per year. It's an extremely good deal. Again, CuriosityStream.com/criminalist. 25% off, $14.99 the whole year. So affordable. I mean, I get those other streaming services as well, a whole bunch of them, and they are like that much a month. Curiosity Stream's a great deal. Please go check it out, supports the show, and let's get back to today's episode. License to drill. Ba-da-bum-bum. But before we deal with what came next, a bit of background. What exactly drove an innocent, everyday hitman to pursue the sadistic career path of dentistry? His biography doesn't offer many clues. No trauma, no mental health issues, nothing beyond the suggestion that maybe he was just born this way. Glennon Engelman was born to a working-class family in St. Louis in 1927. An average student throughout education, he went on to serve in the armed forces, and he had his college dunked through the GI Bill. Dunked? I guess that is like another word for like comped, like he got it for free, like a scholarship. He learned something new every day. He graduated with a degree in dentistry from Washington University. Either that or it's just a typo and everyone just learned a word wrong, including me. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm getting my college dunked. What are you talking about? For free, dunked. For free? No, I don't know. Sorry. He graduated with a degree in dentistry from Washington University in 1954 and returned to St. Louis to set up his own dental practice. Engelman soon became known as a pillar of the community, offering free dental care to the disadvantaged and generally being a stand-up guy, except when he was assassinating. But behind this public persona was a hidden self. Cheery, unassuming Glenn was a self-admitted sociopath who relished the idea of outwitting the police and killing without remorse. And when you have zero regard for the sanctity of life, what's a life insurance policy but a bounty on someone's head? It's so dark. Yeah, it's one of these people. It's like, why are you a psycho? I don't know. I'm just a sociopath. Just am. It's like that. Did you guys ever watch that Dexter TV show? It's like, although he saw his parents killed brutally in a murder when he was like 3, but he's also like, why are you a psycho? It's just, I am. I just am. I have to kill. I don't know why. There are just some people like that. Glenn seems to be one of them. That's psycho. As far as we know, the idea for homicidal insurance fraud first struck Glenn back in the late 50s. This was when he and his first wife, Ruth, the mother to his only child, got divorced after 3 years of marriage. After the split, they stayed on good terms and continued a sexual relationship. As I mentioned before, sex is a recurring theme in many of Engelman's crimes. The New York Daily News reported that he had a hypnotic hold over women and used his animal magnetism to draw them to his plots. The New York Daily News reported he had an animal magnetism. Didn't we describe this guy as a 3 out of 10? Animal magnetism. Again, I can't stress enough how little his mugshots convey the supposed irresistibility. I guess it just proves that confidence is key. But it wasn't enough to hold the relationship together. Eventually, Ruth went on to...
Which is the right building. You need to go up to the 3rd floor and go into the 306 or the 308. If you go in through the 308, you're going to have to go through the balcony, jump over the generator to get into the computer room. Or if you're going through the 306 door, you just go straight in. There is a chair where there's 4 computer cases, and there is a chair underneath that table, and the case is on top of that chair. What you need to do is collect that and escape. Just bear in mind that the resort is a high traffic location for high value people, so you're going to see very geared people at this location. So if you want to make it a bit more easier on yourself, you could always run this during the night time. There is also a DVL spawn next to the mattress, so just keep an eye out for that as well. Hopefully you guys found this guide useful, and I'll see you in the next video.
to remarry, shacking up with a guy called James Bullock. But as you might have already guessed, this entire relationship was engineered by Engelman from the outset, and the clock was ticking for Bullock. Oh my god, Glenn, how many people are you involving with your crimes? How have you got away? This seems to be like, this is 5 plus you? Really? About a year into their marriage in 1958, the couple were walking near the St. Louis Art Museum when Mr. Bullock was shot down by a hidden gunman. Of course, Engelman was a suspect in this murder, as spurned ex-husbands tended to be. But the cops never found anything to definitively link him to the killing. They were suspicious of Ruth from the outset too, partly because of her reputation as quite an unstable, explosive character. Also, I'm just going to guess there might have been some life insurance policies involved. Probably more than one, because we know that that's always about crimes, allegedly. But without any proof, the community rallied behind her and accused
I'm
her
loading
of
in.
harassing and grieving women. So,
I'm on a short end at the minute.
investigation
I've
that
got
began
tasks to do.
Ruth received
I do too.
$64,500 from the life insurance payout. Sometime later, she gave an unknown
Have
amount
you
to the
loaded in
gunman.
yet?
It was Glenn, by the
much
way.
at the minute.
Shocking.
Back
This was
out,
his
mate,
first
can you?
recorded murder and
I'm
one
just gonna run
of the
solo
last
'cause it's easier, 'cause I'll go in the resort.
successfully switched out his
It's easier going to resort solo,
hitman
'cause,
gun
well, it's a
and
fucking
guns.
busy area.
Afterwards, he returned to
You
his
fucking
day
suck,
job,
mate.
maintaining his cover
So it
as
is.
an
It's a busy
unassuming
ass area.
professional, secretly mulling over fresh murder plots each and every day. Who's my ex-wife going to marry next? Although, if the next person is also shot and killed and she gets
Yo,
a life
Bubba's
insurance
back, huh?
payout, that
Mhm.
circumstantial evidence is going to lead to her going
I
to
think he's
prison. So he needs
don't know why he's
a-
doing, probably getting food or
he
something.
needs a
I'd
new
imagine.
person, wife, woman
No,
to
he's
find a
fine. I'm
mark.
watching the
And
stream.
then we're involving person number 6 in the murder crimes.
He looks like he's doing the
It's
same
not a
map
good
as you.
idea, is it? The satisfaction of
Rob,
the
I think he had
first
some
hit
tasks on
led
as
him to
well.
hatch more ambitious, more intricate, and more profitable plans as the years went on. The dentist
fucking
of
been muted
death
this whole
earned
time.
quite a profit
I
side gig over the
have
next 20 years.
what is it
Dude,
called?
how do you
Cargo
not get caught
Part
for like
X?
20 years?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're
I'm on
Cargo
that.
X
so many
Part
people
1.
in your
Yeah, I'm
crimes,
going there as well.
and they're so obviously
Yeah.
crimes.
I'm gonna have to hit the
10
tree.
stab
Police.
kills
We haven't
with a
had a go at the
suppressed
police in a
M4
while.
or an
Come on.
ADAR. I was
Shut
on
up.
this map.
And
Like,
since a huge
I
part
ran
of
this
his
map just
motivation
before, and I
was
had
the
an
thrill
ADAR.
of
I
clever
clapped 2
planning
people.
and meticulous
That scared the shit out of
execution.
me. It's scary.
He didn't
I clapped
restrict
2
himself
people,
to
and then there was
guns.
somebody
His
standing on the
next known
roof
kill happened in
that fucking looked down and
1963.
got me.
By
So it was
this
a
point,
3
Engelman had
man.
spent some of his ill-gotten gains fulfilling a
Yeah,
purpose.
no,
I
I
was
was-
gonna, I was
He
just
bought
gonna let him go
Pacific
by too
drag
because
strip
I
in
didn't
Franklin
want
County.
to
His
fight
few years
PMCs. I
of
wanted
operation,
scab
the
kills.
racetrack proved to be a financial
But they
disaster
just
for
wouldn't leave me
everyone
alone.
involved.
So
Yeah,
Lennon
clapped
nah,
2
and
of them
his
right off
business
the bat.
partners were saddled
I have all the
with
same
costs
tasks, except I have to hit the
sapped
fucking
their
tree as well.
savings. Good news, you can top 'em up
Oh,
with murder.
gotcha.
To get out of that rut, the deadly dentist decided to do what
I've
he did
I got the
best.
tree here and the tree in the lighthouse.
He was
Yeah, I
apparent.
still
Don't
have to get the
dentists
tree in
get
the
quite
lighthouse. I have
well
all the
paid?
rest of
I
them.
feel like dentist is a well-paid job. Do you really need to be out murdering people for like 10 grand? He was apparently pretty average at dentistry. He was actually going to murder one of his business partners and use the proceeds to cut his losses. The target this time was Eric Frey, one of several buddies who...
I was thinking with PMC kills as well, actually. So I got the balaclava scab vest on.
Fucking Cat's been stuck on that forever. He
It's
honestly
a-
would be done with it by now because one raid, he clapped like 5 PMCs when I was running with him,
Yeah,
but he wasn't wearing the scav vest or the balaclava.
yeah. No, it's a fucking pain in the ass one.
Yeah, he would be done with it right now, but he forgot to put that on.
It's just one of those tasks. It's just an absolute dick to get through.
That's just PMC. I was in this fucking building below me would go away.
I think it's like the, well, I think there's like, out of all the Punisher tasks, I think it's like, there's that, the one with the scab balaclava thing, and I think there's one other one that's just an absolute pain in the ass.
The Ushanka hat and the scav vest. while
Yeah,
using the
that's-
shotgun and customs.
Yeah, that's the one. That
Yeah,
one's a
I
fucking ball
I
ache.
just finished that one. I just finished that one yesterday.
It's
It
a
was a bitch.
pain in the ass.
It was fucking hard. Yeah, that task is called setup.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably be a bit easier this wipe because the reason it was such a pain in the ass last wipe was because the ballistics and the shotguns were terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all I did was I just ran a loud shotgun on customs, and I'd sprint to dorms, and I'd use flechette, and I banged it out like quicker than I thought I was going to, but I still died like really easily to some players. And I wasn't running any body armor or anything because I didn't have a helmet. I was like, well, I'm just gonna get fucking head tapped by like the easiest fucking ammo. PSTGGH. Might as well not even wear a fucking body armor. I'm just gonna spend more money if I wear body armor, so I just didn't.
I'd probably wear body armor, but yeah, it's if you could put ears on it at least, it would be different. But you can't put them on with that stupid Ushanka hat, so.
You can put some ears on. I think you can put, because I know I put ears on a couple of times. I think you can put the DSSH on.
Yeah, no, God, no. The sound quality of them's that bad. I actually hear less whilst wearing them. Weirdly. The hell? How many bullets do I have to put in these fucking scabs, man?
Hey, Bubba.
What's up?
Whenever you're done with that raid, can I roll you or what?
Sure.
Are you gonna be going back to that same map, Lighthouse? Or Shoreline?
This is Shoreline.
Yeah, Shoreline.
And I think if the, I mean, yeah, I'll probably have to, but
Okay, I got quests there, that's why I'm asking.
okay, what quests you got here?
Signal part 1.
Signal. Oh, so you gotta look at the, you gotta find the 2 antennas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one is right here on this roof on the other end, and then the other one is at weather station.
And then I gotta visit the Christmas tree for that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you rolling? What kit are you rolling so I can be prepared? Should I roll long range, like sniper rifle?
What I'm rolling with.
Okay. That's what I'll go in with then.
Scab motherfucking arm. Jesus Christ. I brought 60 spur rounds. I'm already down to 41 spur.
chipped in for the investment. Apparently, everyone back
So
then
you're
was
not
just
concerned
desperate
about
to see their
CQB
husbands killed because
in there?
Mrs. Frey eagerly accepted the offer, and now we're bringing in another person to
Bubba?
the circle of
What'd
murder
you say?
crimes. Well
You're not
done.
concerned about the CQB in there with the silk?
Seriously, is a
Fuck
divorce
that guy
plot
say, man?
not
What are you talking
a lot
about?
smarter?
You know, the
can
close
half
quarters
with
combat
zero risk
in
of
the-
Oh,
jail
you're
time.
fucking
That
abbreviating.
was no fun for the murderous mastermind.
I realize you're
Glenn was in it for the
abbreviating.
thrill of the kill,
I
and
mean,
everything else was secondary.
close quarter
Yes, but the
combat for
wife
me
should be
shouldn't
like,
be a
whoa,
problem.
whoa, whoa. What are you talking
Okay.
about? Why would I kill my husband? I don't need all his money. I'll just take half.
I
I
didn't
don't
even
want to
need
go
to
to
bring
prison.
that key. Somebody
You
open it for me.
psycho. I'm calling the police. Did you really just suggest that to me, Glenn? How on earth does that not be part of his life? The fate he dealt Eric was one of the most brutal imaginable. One day,
Wish there were more
Engelman asked
scouts
for his help,
around, but
blowing up
whatever.
a well on the drag strip property. How do you blow up a well? You like just put. Why would you blow up a well? Just put a cover over the top. The plan was to toss half sticks of dynamite down to collapse the whole in on it. Just put a lid on it. How complicated is it? But when Eric walked to the side of the well and peered down the depths, Engelman grabbed him by the waist and hoisted him over the edge. Oh my god. Eric tumbled down to the bottom of the well and landed in a crumpled heap. Before he had time to collect his thoughts, he heard a hissing sound approaching from above. A stick of dynamite landed right next to him. Eric was blown to pieces by the blast, and Glennon went running to tell everyone about the horrible accident that had just occurred. I'd struggle to imagine a more terrifying way to go. At least it's quick. I mean, he survived that fall down the well, didn't he? Well, I wonder how deep the well was. Because if it's deep, you're not going to survive the fall. And then you're going to get blown to pieces, which is going to be like, oh my god, but then it's over. And you're not going to feel much pain getting blown up, are you? Inside a well. It's going to be very contained. It's going to be very messy. But at least they just put a lid over the well. And just be like, yeah, that's your grave now. This is so dark. Why are we talking about this so much? Engelman's unlikely story that Eric fell in by accident and blew himself up stuck with the insurance investigators, and the death was ruled an accident, just like the last time Engelman took his cut from the widow a few months later. His biggest score yet. The next confirmed kill was the one we started with, Peter Halm in 1976, after which Engelman's confidence as a killer skyrocketed. His next murder plots were the most ambitious yet. Despite being married to his third wife, he still couldn't turn off that superhuman sex appeal and ended up having an affair with a patient named Barbara Boyle. She became his latest accomplice, and with longtime collaborator John Handy, they started planning another life insurance murder plot. This one was going to be bigger than ever because Engelman was desperate for cash to pay off some outstanding debts with the IRS. His past scores were pretty modest after all, especially since he took only a fraction of the total payouts. Yes, you got to pay tax on that murder money. To make it worthwhile, they would have to stack up a pretty hefty pile of insurance policies on the next unlucky bachelor. Also, aren't they going to be like, where's all that money coming from? It's like, yeah, here's your dentist income. And what's this like random 10 grand that you're getting?
What is with that
That's my
bouncing?
murder money. Okay. This time it was the turn of Ronald Goosewell. After getting the green light from Glenn, Barbara managed to worm her way into the target's life, and the two were soon joined in holy matrimony. While poor Ron was enjoying the honeymoon phase, his bride got working on 14 separate life insurance policies. It's insane. It's a bit unusual for a 33-year-old man. Oh my god, is it? Just have one life insurance policy with enough money. 14? If you've got, look, right now, if you're listening to this and you've got 14 life insurance policies that you didn't take out, I mean, get your affairs in order, okay? Because you're getting killed. With Engelman's help, she forged her husband's signature and opened the policies via mail at all $190,000 of total value. This is really small life insurance policies. I guess this was back in the day, so what, you add a zero, so what, 1970s? Less than a zero. Let's say it's $1 million. But 14. They're quite small individual policies. As they were building up this lucrative bounty, the conspirators discovered something else which sweetened the deal. Ronald's parents were pretty darn rich. He and his brother were the heirs to a minor oil fortune, which was worth far more than the insurance money itself. There was just one problem, though. The parents weren't exactly old, and they stubbornly refused to get knocked down dead by a car. Engelman would have to handle them as well if he wanted his bonus pay, so he set to work scheming how to kill Barbara's new in-laws. Also, he's like doing all the scheming, and then he just gets like 10 grand at the end of things. It seems like he's taking all the risk. I mean, granted, the Barbara woman's got to go and marry this guy, and, you know, that's going to be not a great time. I don't have any sympathy for you, though, because, look, you're involved in this crazy murder crime plot. But Engelman's doing all the work, and he just gets at the end of it, it's like, yeah, here's your 10 grand. It's like, I guess you're just okay with it, because you'd like killing, you psycho. His plan was set in motion in the winter of 1977. Robert Handy picked up Engelman at his house and drove him to the farmhouse in Madison County, where Arthur, 61, and Vanita, 55, Guswald lived. They pulled up at the back of the property as the sun was starting to go down, and Handy passed the hitman a briefcase. Inside was a pistol and a length of rope. Engelman slipped on the gloves and straightened his tie. The plan was to impersonate an official from the Farm Bureau, an organization that the couple themselves were a part of, to gain easy access to the house. He walked up on their porch and rang the bell. Handy watched from the car as the Garswells invited the killer inside. They told Engelman to take a seat at the kitchen table, where he opened his briefcase and produced a .22 caliber pistol. He shouted them to get on the ground so he could tie them up with the rope, but that was never his intention. As soon as they lay down, Engelman shot them both in the back of the head, 3 times for the wife, twice for the husband. Dude, it feels a bit unnecessary. You can check, can't you? Also, I was like, in previous campaigns, I was reading comments, I think it was on YouTube, or maybe someone hit me up on Twitter, and I was like, 22 caliber is a very small bullet, and someone was like, yeah, Simon, but if you shoot someone in the head with them, it doesn't cause an exit wound, so it just goes in and rattles around and really kills them badly, and I'm like, you know that. Like, I don't want to say, like, you listen to too much crime podcasts, or watch too much crime stuff on YouTube, because you're literally doing it, watching it. You know, my one. I appreciate it. But maybe you watch too much crime. Like, yeah, the 22, that's the one. Rattles around in the head, really scrambles the brain. Uh-oh. We know this happened sometime around 6:50 p.m. because Vanita's wristwatch stopped at that exact time. Her own blood clogged up the mechanism. With the 2 occupants dealt with, Engelman ran around the house, pulling out drawers and toppling over furniture to make it look like a robbery gone wrong. Handy remained in the car with the engine running, and the 2 made their getaway less than 10 minutes after arriving. It seems like another clean, calculated, flawless hit from St. Louis's best semi-pro hitman. But it wasn't quite as successful as it first seemed. Amazingly, Arthur wasn't killed outright. He regained consciousness and was able to call the emergency services after Engelman disappeared. Dude, you were shot twice in the head by a tutu, and I made that whole talk about scrambling the brains. Was the tutu person on Twitter wrong? Because, I mean, his brains were not that scrambled then, were they? His speech was extremely slurred on the count of the 2 gunshot wounds to the head, but he managed to explain that a couple of guys had robbed him, and the paramedics couldn't get a decent description out of him before he lost consciousness again. Arthur eventually succumbed to the wounds before 9:30 p.m. That was phase 2 of the plan done and dusted. Now all that was left was to kill the original target and reap the rewards. Engelman knew that he couldn't rush things though. The only way to avoid suspicion was to spread the plan out over the course of several years, so each of the tragedies looked unconnected. That meant that Barbara ended up living with Ronald for over a year after her ex-lover murdered his parents. She slept in the same bed as him, helped him grieve the loss, even helped raise his kids, her stepkids, when they visited. All with the knowledge that her beloved hubby was next to die. It was only a matter of time before Engelman came knocking. Just that one paragraph description, I know I described it before as like being a fairly horrible thing to do, but that makes you a piece of shit, doesn't it, Barbara? That makes you a total piece of shit. 15 months after his parents were brutally murdered, Ron's time came. The cold-blooded trio met to discuss Engelman's plans for the murder, which Handy later described as go in and tie up Barbara like it was a robbery and she was there, and then when Ron came in, he was going to kill Ron like he'd resist and throw some furniture around and break some lamps, and then leave Barbara tied up in the bed, and then when the children or somebody come by, she would be found. A fake home invasion and sexual assault would distract from the murder itself. They even discussed leaving Barbara tied up for over a day and having her sold the bed, just to give it a bit of authenticity, as if the whole thing wasn't going to be traumatic enough for his kids. Can you imagine the ones to walk in and find all of that? Yes, I can, because it was vividly described, and it just reminds me what an absolute piece of you are. Thankfully, though, they binned that plan, as Barbara didn't particularly like the idea of marinating in her own bodily fluids for 24 hours straight. Well, honestly, Barbara, you put up with a whole lot worse than that to, like, get this done, didn't you? You, like, faked being married to someone for a year. So, instead, they decided to make it look like her husband never made it home at all. March 31st, 1979 was chosen as the fatal day. That evening, Engelman drove over to Handy's place at around 8:30 p.m. wearing his trademark murder gloves, okie dokie, and packing a pearl-handled .38 handgun. They drove to a shopping center parking lot where Barbara picked them up in her own car. The 2 guys ducked down low to make it look like she was the only one in the vehicle as they drove past their farmhouses on the road. They then arrived at her place around 11 p.m. Ron had been working the evening shift at Anoka Railway in the town of Wood River. He left about 10 minutes before they got to the house and would be well on his way home. When the trio pulled into the garage, Barbara went inside to check, while Handy and Engelman waited there in the dark. 10 minutes later, they heard the car pulling up outside. The garage door swung open. and the
Nobody
victim
even
took a
checked
step
that
inside.
crate.
Engelman rushed in, firing a shot right into Ronald.
So I was the
Russell's
first
heart.
one
The
to
victim
it.
staggered back in shock, and Engelman swung at him with a single-handed
God damn.
sledgehammer, battering his head over and over again.
That's
Ronald
pretty
collapsed
cool.
to the ground, and Engelman delivered the final fatal blows for the sudden stop. A bullet in the heart and the previous hit to the head with a sledgehammer didn't kill him immediately. Ronald, you were made of tough stuff, and sorry you got murdered by these horrible, horrible human beings. Hardly the most elegant method, and as you'd expect, it left behind a lot of blood. Engelman shouted to Barbara to clean it up, and she rushed in with some towels to mop up the evidence. Meanwhile, the two men dragged the body into the car.
No, I checked it like
Why are you
5
killing him
times
like
ago.
this? It's a premeditated murder. Why are you making it so messy? Just like strangle him to death.
Stop destroying the
you know,
place.
there's two of you. Why? Why so messy? You're just waiting. You're just trying to get caught. You're
Stop
saying.
destroying
The
the.
next morning at 7 a.m., Barbara called the police to report her husband missing. She told them he never made it home from work the night before. but he said
Will you
when
make me
police
for dinner?
They discovered his fate. On the 4th of April, some witnesses
Nice.
reported an abandoned car by a motel in East St. Louis.
What's still there?
Police found Ronald's corpse in the back seat with a brown
Oh, shit.
garbage bag over his head. Aside from the gunshots and head wounds, his ankle had sustained a twisted fracture from when his body was dragged along the floor. When the officers went to inform Barbara,
Ah,
she
look at
was
this.
shocked despite the fact that she spent the last few days scrubbing her partner's bloodstains off the garage floor. And
That might be
painting
really
the
good,
spot.
yeah.
This is very unpleasant. According to court documents, at the time of his
Well,
death,
it's gone
Ronald
down, though,
was
that.
around $597,000, which is
Nice.
$2.5 today. All of that inheritance
If you
has
have
gone
it,
to
I
Barbara,
already
along
fucking
with
have it.
$190,000 in life insurance payouts. It's going to be mad suspicious. That 34 life insurance payout policies or whatever.
Yeah,
No one's
on
looking
it,
into that
asymptomatic
after he was
still means
murdered,
that you spread it.
and, I mean, weird. Engelman prudently cut off all contact with her until the payments were finalised, just in case the police got wind of foul play. But the connection didn't go unnoticed in the early investigation. The cops discovered that Barbara had
But
connections
that's-
to Engelman, who himself had been implicated in a lot of
Oh,
suspicious
asymptomatic
events
works.
over the years. Before that investigation could really build up steam, a surprise development. Some random guy decided to take the blame
Okay,
for killing
I'm pretty
Ronald
sure that
Griswold.
was-
But
Okay,
seemingly
but I'm pretty
for
sure
no
that's
reason.
not
This
how
was Andre
asymptomatic
Jones,
works.
who was in prison for 3 unrelated murders at the time. He
I know
fatally
that's what
shot Ron dead in a
says.
parking lot
I
during a
just
robbery
think they're
gone
wrong. Pretty
Wait,
sure asymptomatic
okay, so
literally
in
means
between
that
the
you
time
can
this
have
guy
it
was shot
without
and the
showing
confession
symptoms,
he
not without it being
was
detectable.
unrelated murders. All right, dude. His motives for taking credit for the death of Ronald isn't clear in the slightest, but it got Engelman off the hook for now. Sounds like someone, somehow, got word to him. I mean, you're in prison for 3 murders. You're not leaving prison, right? It's America. Although if you kill 3 people, I don't. I mean, some countries release you because there's like maximum life sentences. But like, let's just assume you're not leaving prison. So it's kind of like, why not take the
Oh my
back
God,
for
this-
a murder?
yeah.
If someone's going to give some money to your family or your kids or whatever, like, why not?
put in
What do you
the
got to
prize
lose?
or something.
You're going to be like, yeah, we gave you 4 years in prison. It's like, bro, I'm going in prison forever. So what? Dentist of Doom makes victims go boom. Please excuse the title, I'm gunning for a side gig at the Sunday
Ah,
Mirror.
we've enough milk, it's fine.
International viewers, if you're not familiar with the Sunday Mirror, it's a bit of a tatty British tabloid. Our montage of murders is almost at an end. Engelman had just one more assassination in him before the past came back to haunt him. Once again, this crime began with money problems. By the time he murdered Ronald Guswell, Engelman's third wife, also called Ruth, just like his first, had divorced him. And even after collecting his
I'm in the middle of a
last
run.
big job, he was still facing difficulties, probably because
Tell me.
he inherited like millions of dollars. He's like, yeah, what did I get paid? You got paid $2.5 grand. You might be, come on. You can be better. The biggest thorn in his side was an outstanding bill from a dental lab in St. Louis. He owed them $14,500 in outstanding charges. Oh my lord. Oh, I guess it's not like his own dentistry work. It's like a bill to his business. Still, I mean, that's fairly extraordinary. And the owner, Sophie Marie Barino, was keen to collect. She launched a lawsuit against him in the same month that Guswell Jr. was shot dead, putting her right at the top of the dentist's hit list. Oh my god, he's gonna kill her. I don't know why I didn't see that coming. But I didn't see that coming. His first attempt took place less than 2 weeks before Ronald was shot dead at his own home. On March the 20th, 1979, Barbara spotted a strange clump of materials on the floor of her business's garage. When the police analysed it, they discovered it was a package of ruined dynamite attached to a pressure switch. It must have been rigged to blow under the bottom of her delivery vehicle. Thankfully, the explosives were damp, and when the switch triggered, they only went off with an underwhelming little pop not a bang. Engelman had failed to blow his financial woes away. Callum, dude. And would have to find another way to settle the score. Fast forward another 10 months and time is running out. A final decision was to be passed on January the 21st, 1980, so Engelman decided to just give the exact same plan another crack. 1 week before the ruling was due, Barbara hopped into a delivery van parked out front of a laboratory. She turned the key, stepped on the gas, and the entire thing went up in a furious fireball. She was killed instantly. After I found that explosives under my car, I'd be checking my goddamn car every single time. I'd just be like not driving. I'd leave the country. I'd go like after an assassination attempt, like full on, like someone's trying to absolutely murder me and I don't know why. I'd be like, I'm just gonna leave. Like, fuck this. Investigators once again found evidence of a pressure switch mechanism, just like in the attempted bombing the year before. Oh, it was a year later. Oh my. And concluded that either dynamite or a liquid explosive was used. Witnesses came forward to report that 3 men in orange jumpsuits were seen working on the car earlier that morning. They assumed it was just some innocent routine maintenance. But of course, it was Engelman and his cronies fixing the car bomb underneath the innocent woman's ride. And Engelman bringing in more people to his crimes. Rather than just settle his financial quibbles like a normal person, Engelman preferred to spend hundreds of hours planning an intricate murder plot that would wipe the slate clean. He would literally rather blow a human being
Anyone want to go
rings
factory with me?
rather than face bankruptcy. Suddenly, those unpaid dental bills are starting to look a lot more urgent, no?
No, I'm
Yes.
suited up for Shoreline with Bubba.
You may feel a slight sting.
Active stuff at the minute.
Now, I'm no detective, but I'm pretty sure one of the first things they get taught in
What do you need to go
academics
factory
is
for?
that money equals
Just to
motive.
drop
If you
something
have a
off.
Body. One of the first things you should do is check their balance sheets to see who might have financial incentive to remove them from the equation.
going in now.
Hello. Following that logic, there was little doubt that Engelman had something to do with the bomb that blew Barbara sky high, but as usual, there was no hard proof. Engelman was always extremely careful not to